It's weird, isn't it? New Zealand is not a massive country. You wouldn't think that one side of the coast to the other side of the coast would be that much different. But it is. I've never come across this anywhere in New Zealand. So Napier, get your act together. What's going on? In this week's episode, we're going to share with you 7 major differences between the east coast of New Zealand and the west coast, and let you see that New Zealand is very different from what you think it is.
It's a Drama, coming to you from Taranaki, New Zealand.
Hello.
Daddy, I love him!
Mother thanks you.
Right, Mr. DeMille, I'm ready for my close-up.
Hello and welcome to the It's a Drama podcast. I'm Liz.
And I'm Brian.
And today we bring you this episode from a different location. We are in Napier, New Zealand.
The city of Napier.
On the North Island of New Zealand. We're on our holidays, we're house sitting, and we thought it would be a fabulous opportunity to just give you some differences of what we have found to be different in Napier.
We've never really been to Napier before.
Well, we have.
Well, not like, well, you have. I
Yeah,
haven't really.
yeah.
Yeah, I came for a couple of days and that was it, but not the same.
Yeah.
Hey?
But
No cafes back then.
We are from New Plymouth, we're from Taranaki, and we don't get out much, I've got to say, we really don't. If you're new to this channel, we're Liz and Bri, husband and wife, and we just like to sit in our garden in Taranaki and just chat about travel, life in New Zealand, moving to New Zealand, just what's going on really in New Zealand, isn't it, Brian?
Yep, everyday things.
But we are currently house sitting. We're going to talk to you about that later on in the show. We're currently house sitting in Napier for 5 weeks. And I've got to say, it's been a bit of a culture shock, hasn't it, Brian?
You wouldn't think just the other, we're five and a half hour drive from New Plymouth. I could lose my voice there. Sounds like I was 14 again.
Nervous.
I was like, whoa.
It's so much of a culture shock.
There's a bit of youthfulness coming back out of me. I was like, whoa, where did it go? Oh, I know. Yeah,
No, it's different. It's different.
And you wouldn't think we're on the North Island of New Zealand, and you wouldn't think we're that far apart that there would be some cultural differences. A lot more palm trees, that's for
Anyway,
sure.
we've got 7 differences for you, and number 7, get this, number 7 is a secret one that I'm going to hold back. It's actually not a difference, it's just a really, really good little find, and I just thought, do you know what, I'll do that thing, I'll just keep it to the end and keep you here and then, just tease you with that a little bit. Before we jump in, for those of you who are not familiar with Napier in New Zealand, Napier is the Art Deco capital, I'm going to say, of the world. Brian reckons it isn't, but it is. I reckon it's the Art Deco capital, full of beautiful Art Deco buildings. In 1931 there was this huge earthquake and it flattened most of Napier and Hastings, and it was rebuilt, the centre of Napier was rebuilt in all this beautiful Art Deco style that was in fashion at the time. So that's the first fact. And the second one is the Māori name for Napier, and I'm going to get really nervous now because I always do when I try to pronounce anything Māori.
Come on, Liz.
Okay, I'll give it a go, Bri. Is Ahuriri. Ahuriri.
Ahuriri.
Ahuriri. Really sorry if that isn't pronounced properly, but I'm giving it a good go.
Yeah.
It's beautiful, but you've got to get your tongue right on the riri.
It's just those.
I did it then. Look, see, when I'm not nervous and I'm
Maori
trying.
vowels, isn't it? Yeah, it's just getting round to it. Yes.
So there are your 2, proper facts. Now, here's the really good stuff. This is the real stuff that's different about Napier. So, number 1 thing that is different in Napier definitely from New Plymouth, and this isn't really my fact, it's more Brian's, is Brian reckons that in Napier there's more boy racers.
Yeah, more redliners,
What?
definitely.
Go on, Brian.
But you know what? I think maybe just because where we're staying, I mean, you've got the city of Napier in the background, and so, we live in the middle of nowhere, really, don't we?
We've never seen traffic,
and,
do we, Brian?
here, it's just like, my goodness. And you hear all these, they've obviously sawn the proper exhaust off the car and stuck something weird on, and taken all the catalytic converters off it. And you just hear them, Saturday night and Friday night. And it's just like, they're roaring up and down a little bit.
Then?
It's not annoing, but it's just...
Well, it's not what you said the other
No,
night.
but you just hear it.
Should have mufflers on them.
No.
You said.
I didn't say they had mufflers. But they're all backfiring and...
Yeah,
It's just like,
boy racers.
Yeah, so it's just, you just notice it a little bit more. There are, in New Plymouth has got them as well. There's that little green sort of car that goes up and down in New Plymouth. And
What, one green car?
One green car, it's an old Toyota, and it's just like...
Do you know what I reckon it is? Because when you said this, but I reckon, so Napier, it's got all these beautiful palm trees, it's got this beautiful marine parade running along the front. It's like being in America, isn't it?
It's more like
Or the south of France.
Yes, it feels like the west coast of America, like
Yeah.
California-y type feel
Yeah.
about it, and it's got the south coast of France feel about it, especially with the palm trees and stuff like
It's
that.
gorgeous.
It is. It is.
And why wouldn't you want to just get an old banger and just clap it out
I
down
know.
the road,
Well, you
right?
would though, wouldn't you? You want to get
Hey,
your hot
with
rod
your
out.
muffler on.
Get your hot rod out.
So yeah, it's been bothering Brian a little bit. Head's been spinning all over and up out the window looking out. Oh, what's that noise?
Yeah, what's
These
that?
young ruffians.
Yeah, there you go.
Driving their cars.
It's another Nissan that's low riding.
So that was number one of our differences that we've noticed. Number two is, and this is by no means a go at New Plymouth or Taranaki, because the people are very friendly in New Plymouth. But I can honestly say, and we've been all over New Zealand, I can honestly say I've never been anywhere in New Zealand where the people are so flipping smiley at you, Brian.
But we're talking about the
Friendly.
We're talking about the CPD here, aren't we? In the town itself, when we just like,
Yeah.
you're sitting there having a cup of coffee, and people are just like talking, stopping and talking to each other.
Yeah.
Where in New Plymouth, it's just like a wave or keep quiet or
Not
whatever it
even
is.
so much, so I don't even mean stopping and talking to each other.
Right.
I have just noticed that when you're walking down the street, I mean, obviously, who wouldn't want to smile at us? You know? But when you're walking down the street, they're just like, morning. And I'm not just talking like at home in New Plymouth. If you're on the beach or if you're in the village and you know people, you always give them the eyebrows and stuff.
Yeah.
But here is like total strangers. They just are it's a very, very friendly city.
They do, just like even like the shop assistants or the cafe,
yeah.
Sort of waiting on staff or whoever they are, or the servers, whatever they are. They just like, they actually give you a big smile,
I
don't
know.
they? And you're
Why
like,
do you think
"Ooh."
that is, Brian?
I think because I don't know. Maybe
Because
it's
the husbands are out racing the cars and they're on their own.
I think what it is the majority of people in New Plymouth tend to sort of go off to uni and stuff, and people seem to just live here.
Yeah.
You know, of all ages.
Do you reckon that's what it is?
I don't know, but that
Yeah.
maybe, like, you know,
Yeah.
because is there a university here in Napier? I think there's a college or something, but I'm not 100% sure if there's a
Yeah.
university. I think
Yeah.
there is actually, but I don't know.
Isn't it gorgeous, the garden?
Mm-hmm.
This is the garden of the house sit that we're in for 5 weeks. We'll tell you more about that later in the show, but
Yes.
isn't it beautiful? It's just palm trees and banana trees and
It is.
it's just absolutely
it's
gorgeous.
Obviously, we wouldn't show you the house that we're staying
No,
in because
no,
that's
no.
that's not right.
Yeah,
but the garden is
no,
there.
it's a huge garden. So we just found a little spot and we just thought, we'll just record from
Yeah.
here. So thank you, Napier, for your beautiful welcome, your warm smiles that you're giving us in the streets and in the cafes and in the shops. Just a real, and it's not fake, you know. You know, you go to some places and it's just like, hello. You know, it's not American, but like, what? How do you do Kiwi accent? Like, hello. You know,
Howdy.
yeah, but you know what I mean, though. It's not fake. Because there's nothing worse, is there, when you go in and you know that just they're being nice to you because they want some
I
permission.
know.
You know?
Yeah.
But it's not like that here. It just feels
It's
genuine.
just lighter, a bit
know?
lighter. I
Yeah.
think that's the word I'm trying to
Yeah.
figure out what it is, and it just feels slightly lighter.
I hate to say it, Bri, but people here seem a little bit happier than they do in the Naki.
Yeah, a little bit smarter dressed as well.
Well, don't say that,
Oh,
because that's
right.
one of my
Oh,
things.
is it?
I'm going to
Okay.
be talking about
Yes.
that.
All right.
Yeah, right. So, number 3, moving on. Number 3, difference in Napier. When you go in the supermarket, right, and this happens everywhere in New Zealand. So, you know when you go in the supermarket to buy wine, and they always do that thing where they go, ring, you know, I have to call someone over. Like,
I know you've got one bottle of wine, and it's like I quite clearly look older than 25.
Yeah, but they have
know?
to do it by law, Bri.
Yeah, but
No, what?
I know, but
What?
what I'm saying is like you only if you look under 25. That's what it is that they've got to do. Like you know.
No, I don't understand that because I thought it was that as well. I thought they only had to pass it if you. No, do you know what it is? You have to ask for ID if you look under 25.
Yes, exactly.
But the cashier, the manager of the store, Countdown, Pack and Save, all those ones, when you go and buy alcohol in New Zealand, and I think it's the same all over the world, and we can't remember if it's the same in England. We were talking about this the other day.
Yeah.
They have to okay it, so they won't let the cashier just swipe it through. They have to bring it over and they look, you know, okay, yep, okay, and they type this little code in and then they go on your way and you walk off with your alcohol.
Yeah.
But what we were going to say here, what we've noticed, so back home in New Plymouth, they just go, oh yeah, they come over, don't even look at you.
They just normally sort of say, hello, how's your day going, to a
Yeah,
degree,
but
like,
don't
you know,
even
but
look, really.
yeah, which obviously I think that's, you know, they have to sort of just, hello, how are you doing?
Yeah.
But here, yes, here, as the horn goes down in the city, they actually eyeball you and then they say, hello, how are you today? And you're like, I'm fine, thanks. How are you? And I think that's just to make sure that you're not intoxicated.
Oh, is that what it is,
I
do
think
you?
I think that's the
Are
reason.
you sure they're not looking at you going, surely you're not 25,
Yeah.
Brian?
I'm like,
I mean, I
hey.
know you're saying you're
Yeah.
60, but
If
I don't think
I wear
so.
my sunglasses in the supermarket.
Yeah, so Bri came out and he was all flustered and he was like, I don't believe it. Like, you know, that's the person behind the
I
till.
wasn't flustered. Jeez. I didn't come out like, woo. You never guess what's just happened to me.
Well, you know, we don't get out much and I'm trying to big
Yeah.
it up a bit. But,
I know.
you know, but no, Bri said, she very clearly, the lady was like, you know, like contact, like, you know,
Yeah.
making sure
Well, it's
that
just-
you weren't drunk.
Yeah, you're not off your trolley.
Yeah.
You know, like on tea.
I always think though, has there ever been a time that someone has gone, no, you're not having alcohol?
Oh, well,
I've never witnessed that.
well, you said someone was getting taken out of the shop the other day.
Oh yeah, that's another thing as well. I was sitting in the car waiting for Bri, and I tell you what though, give it to her. This little security guard, she was only a little young thing. Like,
A little young
yeah, but a
thing?
young girl. You know,
Yeah.
like security guards are normally like really burly, and like you look a bit tough. She looked like she was about 12. But my God, she was taking no messing off this woman. There was a woman like causing a bit of trouble outside. She was in a onesie, and she was obviously, I don't know,
Probably intoxicated.
probably intoxicated, whatever. But she was giving the girl a bit of slack, like, you know, a bit of trouble. And she wasn't having any of it. This little kid. She wasn't even a kid. She was about 25.
Yeah.
She wasn't having any of it. And you know when you're sitting in the car and you're just like trying not to look like you're watching, but you just can't take your eyes off her. I was thinking, wow, it takes a lot, doesn't it? Like, you know, to stand up to someone like that. And
Yeah,
but
well,
you
just-
reckon
just
she would
having it-
probably know martial arts or something.
She just looked like she could handle herself because she had like a confidence about her. Because I had
Yeah,
noticed her
yeah.
and I'm like, yes,
Yeah.
okay. But she's, you know, you don't normally see a sole security guard and then she's a female security guard.
Yeah,
You know?
and not just that, but like little, like, you know.
Yeah.
I wonder if when she went for the interview, they said, "Go on then, prove your worth. What can you do?"
Well, she probably just
and
got
she
a-
started doing all
yeah.
this kung fu, like, you know.
Probably got a black belt
Yeah,
certificate out and go, do you want any more?
Yeah,
Third
exactly.
Dan? Yeah.
Right, so moving on. So number 4, what number are we on? Number 4, I think we're on. Bri just touched on it before. I've got to say, now I don't know whether this is because we're from Farmerland, like, you know, we're from New Plymouth. Oh, that's not not fair to say that. No, I'm sorry, Bri.
Farmerland. Hello, Farmerland.
No, but what I mean is Naki is, it's quite rural, isn't it, Bri?
Well, it is, but it's the energy capital of New Zealand. So,
but I'm
you
not
know,
saying that.
there's like oil money there.
I know, but what
You know,
I'm saying
there's
is...
JR and Bobby and everyone else living there.
Look, I love New Plymouth. I
Yeah.
am a huge fan of New Plymouth. But in New Plymouth, it's not unusual to go down the street and see people walking into shops in their gumboots. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
Now, Napier, on the other hand, I feel a little bit scruffy, I've got to say.
I have to
I've got
admit,
say.
I've seen a lot of Audis and Range Rovers and, you know, sort of expensive European cars here.
Yeah.
You know, there's quite a lot.
Yeah.
You know.
And the thing I've noticed, and I say this in the nicest way, I'm not being like, you know, snobby or anything, but it's just like I've noticed that the women are just, they're impeccably dressed. They're really
Yeah.
nicely dressed. I don't know, it just looks, they look very classy. The clothes that they're wearing just look nice, you know, just look quite expensive. And so, which leads me to believe, and I don't know if this is true, but I'm guessing, like you just said, because about
Yeah.
the cars, is Napier rich? Is it posh? Is it a wealthy area?
Well, there's a lot of wine around here and stuff, but it's all fruit farmers and stuff,
That's
isn't
why
it?
they're asking for your ID, Bri, because everyone's off their face on the wine.
That's it, cheap wine. It's good wine. They're from Hawke's Bay.
Yeah,
it
it is,
really
yeah.
is. It's very good wine.
No, but I get this feeling that, and that's not to say New Plymouth is, you know, like run down or whatever. I don't mean that. I just, there's a difference. You certainly feel like when you go out into the town that you can't just go down there in your tracky bottoms sort of thing, you know?
No, you wouldn't sort of like, yes.
You know, the other day when I went to Foursquare,
but-
you told me off because you were like, "Oh, Liz, I can't believe you're wearing your socks and your sliders." And I said, "So what? Who cares?"
But you
and
wouldn't-
that's the
yeah,
feeling
but
you
you-
get at home. Who cares?
And you would walk down through New Plymouth in your socks and sliders, no one would
Yeah.
care. But here, you would feel a little bit different.
You would.
Just, it's only the CPD, the 2 sort of streets or 3 streets, and that's about it really, isn't it, for the
Do you
CPD?
do you think, hand on heart, answer the truth here now, Bri.
Yeah.
Do you think we are suffering from the Naki inferiority complex?
I think so. I think we've turned into rural Nakiites.
I think we have, Bri.
Yeah, I think we have, haven't we?
Yeah.
You know,
We
because
used
you come
to
out,
live
it's
in
like
Bath in England. We used to be really posh. And now we've just gone,
know.
we don't give a damn, do we?
But I'm looking at cars and thinking, oh, I haven't seen that model before. I haven't seen that model before. That's a new one. And
Are we
you look at it
backwards?
and you're like, no, it's like 6 years old, that one, mate.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I just
know.
think, yes.
Well-dressed people.
Yes.
You know, and that's not, they're nice as well, like I said in the earlier point. Nice, smiley, well-dressed people.
Yeah.
Apart from the boy racers that are up
Apart
and
from the
down,
boy racers and whoever it is who's got
the
that.
intoxicated woman in the supermarket.
Sounds like there's a motorbike just doing donuts down there, doesn't it?
I know. Bri gets ever so upset. Whenever we're about to start the podcast, it has to have everything perfect. And it's like, oh yeah, everything's quiet. Just do a mic check, Liz. And then whenever we're about to start, either John next door starts his flipping lawnmower or his chainsaw, or the guy down there, now we're just about to start and someone's...
Oh yeah, he had like a 2-stroke leaf blower thing and it was just like...
Yeah, but
it's
it
like,
adds to it though, doesn't it?
It's the
It adds
ambience,
to it,
hey?
yeah.
The Napier ambience.
Yes. Right, so number 6. Oh no, hang on. Number 5. Oh, I can't believe this. You're not going to be able to believe this. I can't. Now, this is surprising. Number 5, different thing. And to be honest, again, I've never come across this anywhere in New Zealand. So, Napier, get your act together. What's going on? We go into a cafe just before. Oh, yeah, and what teas do you do, please? Don't do tea.
It's a cafe.
Cafe?
Come on.
Don't do tea.
Yeah.
And we're like, what? And he's like, no, we don't do tea. We do, the only thing we do other than coffee is, what was it?
Honey and lemon.
Honey and who wants that? Unless you've got a cold.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be sitting there having a honey and lemon.
No, it's like, come on.
I know.
Yeah, but it's just, there was just like 2 guys and they're obviously thinking, well, we'll just do coffee and that's it. And it's like, well, it's not hard. You've got a coffee machine there which lets hot water out, obviously.
Yeah.
Put a tea bag in a cup and go, there you go, mate.
Now, have you ever been in a cafe,
not
anywhere
hard.
to be honest, in the world, that doesn't do tea? It's like,
Yeah. I
don't think I have.
I have been to plenty of cafes that didn't do tea as such, but that's because it's
Where?
not.
name one. See, you can't. You're lying.
Yeah, because
Aren't you?
No, I'm not. America.
No,
Yes.
you're just saying America
There's
because
like
you know
dust
no
off a
one's
tea bag, but he probably did still have a
No.
tea bag, and it's just
No.
like, and
Yeah,
then it's
no,
like, how do you make
Americans
this?
give you tea.
But even in New Plymouth, though, Liz, sometimes you'll go and have tea, and they will put a tea bag on the side and bring you out some hot water. And you're like, what have you done?
Yeah, but at least it's a cup of tea.
Yeah, but I know at least it's a cup of tea, but it's just like, you know, there's people in New Zealand, there's rows of tea in the supermarket, so people here drink tea.
Yeah.
They do.
Yeah. We all like a good cup of tea.
Yeah,
Do you
or
know
like a
what?
good
Let me
cup of
just-
coffee as well.
Let me tell
But
you
I
this
already had
story.
3 cups of coffee.
Let me tell you this story. When me and Bri used to own a cafe in Bath, when we were posh and had nice clothes and lived in Bath,
Yeah.
didn't walk around in our sliders and socks, we bought a cafe in the centre of Bath and we turned it, we've talked about this many, many times, and we turned it from a greasy spoon into this gorgeous little cafe in the centre of Bath in England. And we'd never, I mean, Brian's parents had a hotel and I'd always worked like, you know, as a waitress and stuff, but we'd never owned our own business, our own cafe. And we thought, you know, oh, we're going to buy this cafe. I think it was something like £36,000. We got a bank loan and we moved up to Bath and we were in our 20s and we were like, oh yeah, we're going to do this cafe. And we met the owner on site and he worked with us for the first 2 weeks. He was like, I won't just throw you in at the deep end, I'll work with you, like, you know. We didn't know anything, bearing in mind, we didn't know anything. We learned everything right from the scratch. And I never forget, we walked in and he was talking to us about profit, about how much profit you make on things. And he was saying things like, you know, or side salads on, because he used to give like a grated carrot and lettuce. And he'd be like, oh, be careful about how much side salad you give because that's a lot of profit. You know, like a lettuce is going to cost you
Portion
this much.
control.
Portion control, yeah. And so we were learning all about this. And I remember him saying about tea. And he said a tea bag cost you, I think it was 2p.
Well, but wouldn't even mean that, probably a penny.
It was a penny or 2p.
Or whatever it was, yeah, they were cheap as, weren't
Yeah, and I remember thinking, for some reason I had it in my head that cafes must get their tea different from a supermarket. Like there must be a special place that cafes buy their tea and coffee. And he was like, no, you just get your tea bags from the supermarket. And I was like, so a box of 100 tea bags is something like, I don't know, it was £2 or whatever it was, and we worked it out, and a cup of tea, we were paying, a cup of tea was 2p or 1p.
Yeah.
And I remember sitting there thinking, so hang on a minute, people are going to come into this cafe and pay, back then it was like 55p or 60p for a cup of coffee, for a cup of tea rather.
Yeah.
And all it was costing us was a penny.
Yeah.
And ever since then, you know, whenever you go to a cafe, talking about the tea theme, ever since then I've always thought, you're making a lot of, I know how much money you're making on this tea bag, and especially us, because we don't take milk, we don't take sugar, we just literally have a tea bag in some hot water. And I always think, whenever I go into a cafe and I see a cup of tea for like, because how much is a cup of tea now?
Well, do you know how
in
much
New
that?
Zealand?
Well, we had a green tea.
Yeah,
It's $6
for one green
for
tea.
one green tea, for one tea bag.
So
Actually, it wasn't. It was a
£3
spoonful of green
about.
tea into a teapot, and that
I
was it.
understand, because obviously I know you're probably thinking, yeah, but then
Yeah, but
you've got your staff and
I
your
know,
electricity
but
and your overheads.
But you all know about that. That's business, isn't it? Like, you
Yeah.
know, but there's like, you know, when something is like, normally in the food industry, it was always, your markup was a minimum of 300%.
Yeah.
That is like, even if it costs you, what's it cost for a spoonful of tea?
I know.
What? Not even.
I bet they love it when we
not
say,
even
no,
a dollar,
no
like,
milk
you
or
know.
sugar for us, thanks. Like they're thinking, yes, there's more
So
money in
it's,
our
you know, not even even if it costs you $1 for the tea bag, which
Yeah.
it doesn't, but if it did, it's a 600% markup.
Yeah.
Come on,
Yeah.
it shouldn't be that much.
Well, no, I disagree. It should be that much.
Well, I do. I
Because-
agree and I don't agree. You know?
Well, yeah, because you've got to make your money somewhere, right?
Yeah, I know, but normally your food and stuff like that is where you make your money.
No,
but
because
you
that's where
you-
people think you make your money, and
I know,
you don't.
but you don't. You make it on the drinks.
On the drinks, don't you?
Yeah. Yeah.
So my point is, why on earth, two guys down in the cafe that don't sell tea, don't you just go to the supermarket,
Yeah.
get yourself a box of green tea, and when
Yeah.
someone comes in like us and says, "Do you serve tea?" It's like, "Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
What do you want?"
And if you sell,
Easy, isn't it?
And that's it. Even if you sell an extra 20 a day, just look at the profit. It's huge.
Yeah, and it's a
You know?
shame because, you know, we ended up, we didn't want coffee. We'd been coffeeed out, like Bri said. We've been drinking coffee all morning. Just fancied sitting down, going over our notes for our podcast, having a nice cup of tea. And it's just, we had to walk out because it
Yeah.
was like, well, and you think, why?
Yeah,
Why
crazy
do
because
that?
we wanted to just sit there in the sun, but you go like 4 doors up and, you know, you spend $12 with them instead. And it's a
Yeah.
shame because it's just like, you know, I know how hard it is to run a business and you really do. And I know, you know, coffee machines cost a fortune, like, you know.
Do you know
they really
what
do.
as well? Let me just tell you this one story as well, and then I'll move on to the next things. But the same cafe we had, right? And it was just getting busier and busier because obviously we did such good stuff, and it was getting busier and busier and busier, this cafe. And come Christmas time, what would happen is the coaches would come up from Wales, bringing all the OAPs on the coaches to shop, Christmas shop in Bath. And our cafe was just up the road from the coach station, so they would get off the
First
coach.
stop, basically, wasn't it? Yeah.
They'd get off the coach, come from Wales, get off the coach, walk up round the corner and come to our cafe. Now, for some reason, these these OAPs, you know, old age pensioners.
Not all of them were, but the majority of them were, weren't they? Because some of them were
Yes.
young as well, weren't they?
No, they weren't.
Were they not?
No, they were
Oh,
all
right.
like, you know, in their 80s and stuff. And they want to keep hold of their money, Bri, that's why.
Yeah.
And they would come in the cafe and they'd say, "We'll have a potted," hang on, I have the Welsh speak. "We'll have a potted," no. "We'll have a potted
boil.
tea." I can't,
Come on.
I can't do
I'll
it.
have a
hang
pot of
on.
tea.
That's it. I'll have a pot of tea and I'll share it with my friends. And they'd get a pot of tea between four of them. So they'd ask for one pot of tea.
and it was only, bear in mind, our tea was 80 pence.
Oh, is that how
I
much
think
it
for a pot.
was?
No, 40.
And they'd say, "And we'll have
whatever it
4
was, yeah.
cups, please, love." And so they'd make us bring them 4 cups, and then they'd sit there because they'd been on the coach all morning and they were tired and trying to muster up the courage and the effort to go Christmas shopping in Bath. And they'd sit there and they'd literally have one pot of tea between 4 of them.
Yeah, like half a cup each, and then they get the biscuits out.
Yeah, they'd bring their
It's
own
like,
biscuits
hello.
in their bag, wouldn't they?
Unbelievable,
Yeah.
people. Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
So, anyway, not that we're bitter.
No.
Not that we're bitter.
Yeah, taking up a table of 4 for 40 pence or 80 pence, whatever. It was ridiculously cheap, wasn't it?
I
Like, you
know,
know, for a
I
pot of
know.
tea. You think, oh.
But I suppose give it.
Can I have some more hot water in that?
Yeah.
No, you can't.
Exactly.
It's only hot water.
I think one of them even got their sandwiches out once.
But they
didn't
did, Liz. They
Bri?
would just, you know, it's like, come on. You know, it's like we've got people queuing up to come in.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, and you're taking
Get
up a
out,
table.
Welshies.
Yeah, come on, Welsh. My grandma was Welsh, so I haven't got a problem with Welsh.
Anyway, so yeah, that was, and staying on the cafe theme, number 6, the thing that is a huge difference to us coming from New Plymouth. For a start, and I think this goes hand in hand, the weather.
Yes.
You know? I mean, I know Hawke's Bay had it really, really bad last year.
Yeah,
They've
they
had
did.
some terrible weather.
There are a lot of washouts and
Yeah.
so much rain in the summer. Yeah, yeah.
But since we've been here, it's been gorgeous. And
Cold?
Yeah.
It's cold. It's like today. It's like in the shade because we obviously can't film in the sun because it just blits everything out. But it's just like this morning was 3 degrees. But today it's got up to about 16, 17. But in the sun it feels like 22.
Yeah. And it's got all these palm trees, and it just feels very. When you look out, it just looks hot.
Yeah.
It looks like one of those places.
Well, these palm trees here, they're just like they're stunning, aren't they?
Yeah.
We do get them in Taranaki, but not as many as what they seem to be here.
And as a result, we've noticed, even if they don't do tea, we have noticed that there's a lot of outside eating areas.
Yeah.
All the cafes have terraces, which is really, really lovely.
Yeah, the outside eating here is big,
Yeah,
isn't it?
it is, yeah.
Yeah.
And you can get a couple of cafes in New Plymouth that have outside eating.
Have outside heating.
Outside heating.
Heating?
No, outside.
Outside heating. Eating.
Outside heating. No, what am I saying? Oh, you know what I mean. Anyway, you can eat outside in New Plymouth, but here it seems to be, it's the norm, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, don't forget, Napier is very, very flat in the CPD.
Yeah.
It's super flat. So, I mean, New Plymouth tends to, Devon Street is up and down a wee bit, isn't
Yeah,
it? So
yeah.
the amount of cafes that are on there, you've got to sort of eat inside, really.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, that was just one of those big differences. So, yeah, there we go.
There we go.
All those differences. Now, if you are still here, however, we're in 28 minutes in, so I just want to say thank you to our loyal listeners who just watch us, who just hang on in. And I just wanted to share this little tip with you, because the other day we went down to a cafe, and you know how much I love my food. We both love our food, but I am going to give a huge shout out to a cafe in Napier. Hang on, I've written it down. What's it called? It is called Anjuna Café.
Oh.
And it's right. What are you saying? Oh, for?
No, because I was just thinking, yes. Yeah, but you had your cup of tea over it, so I couldn't see which one you're going to talk about. I knew it was going to be Appy or.
So Anjuna Café is
on the corner.
On the corner in downtown Napier. Now we went in there and we had breakfast. Bryce said, Liz, don't go and say it's the best breakfast you've ever had in New Zealand, because you're always saying that. But honestly, now this is going to take the biscuit. This is the winner,
So
Bri.
the Ramati Social Club down in Paraparamu. Sorry.
I've had lots of nice breakfasts in New Zealand, but oh my God, if you are in Napier, go to, what's it called again? I keep forgetting. Anjuna Café. See, you've got me all
Sounds a bit
flustered
like
now.
tuna.
Anjuna. Go to Anjuna Café and just have the smoked fish on potato and parsnip rosti. Is that how you say it? Rosti?
Rosti, I think. No, it's a rosti,
potato
isn't it? Yeah,
rosti.
potato rosti.
It's served with this bechamel sauce. Oh my God, it is divine. It's just, and watercress. It's so nice.
It's very, very good. It is
so
super
lovely.
good. And
it's huge portions as well.
Yeah.
Lovely staff.
Yes.
Outside, you can eat outside. Really, really nice.
Yeah, the pancakes look amazing because and the eggs benny obviously, because that's everywhere New Zealand sells eggs benny.
Yeah.
But they are very good.
I can recommend it. It was just it was so good. And you know when you're eating something and you literally can't get it down that quick enough because you just love it so much. Like every mouthful, I was just like, I love this so much. But like I say, portions are huge.
They are
so
huge.
make sure you're hungry.
Obviously, I have no idea on portion control. They are big.
And I think it was something like, I mean, it's not cheap, but
no, it's not
worth
cheap at all.
Every single penny. It was $27.
$27, but you could actually share. You really
could.
Could.
Share that, Bri, because I just wanted it all to myself.
Because it was big enough.
But
that's all you needed for the whole day, wasn't it?
It
was. It was really good.
It was absolutely brilliant, and the guys down there really, really friendly, and just a lovely cafe, lovely vibe, and just sitting there thinking, this is it, this is the life.
It is, and you're sitting out. You can sit outside, and it was great. It was amazing,
So before
a good
we
vibe
go,
on that street.
Yeah. Before we go, let's just tell you that we are house sitting in Napier for 5 weeks. If you have not signed up for house sitting yet, I'm going to put a link in the description, and Bri, put your hand up. There we go.
Here.
That link will give you 25% off an annual membership for house sitting. Now, regular watchers of this show will know that we only ever promote stuff that we either use ourselves or we love. And I know everyone says that, but it's true.
Yeah.
It's like we use house sitting. We love house sitting. It's a great way to travel, to see places that you never would normally see, to stay in beautiful houses like we're staying in. And I just don't understand why you wouldn't give it a go. It's just, I love it. I mean, we worked it out. We were looking at Airbnbs, and to stay in a place like this, well, it would just be...
It'd be up in the thousands.
Yeah,
thousands
it
and
would.
thousands. Yep,
and
it would.
you get to meet the owners, and you just get to do local things, and you get to just live like a local rather than going and staying in a hotel or whatever. So we can't recommend it highly enough, and we get a huge 25% discount that we can offer onto you if you want to sign up for a yearly membership. And remember, if you don't even want to sign up and you just want to have a look, just go and click the link and you can see all the houses in New Zealand and around the world for house sitting. It's brilliant, isn't it,
It's brilliant, yeah.
It's really, really good. We're just, I can't say enough about it. So there you go. That's all about house sitting. Yeah. So thank you so much for joining us this week in Napier. You know, as always, we are so grateful that you tune in, that you choose to watch us, that you leave your lovely comments. Hello, sweetheart. Let me see if I can pick him up.
He's quite young, this one.
He is a lovely young boy.
Hello, you.
Sitting on my microphone. Here he is. He's absolutely gorgeous. Oh, it's not a bit camera shy.
Yeah.
But thank you so much for being here with us. And until next time, take care, keep smiling, and I will speak to you soon.
Yeah, so kia kaha, stay strong, kiu'u, stay true, and that's true to yourself. And we'll see you next time.
Okay.
See you now.
Bye.
Bye.
If you move into New Zealand and you tell people, they're going to say this to you. They're going to say, oh, you won't be able to get that when you move to New Zealand. Oh, you won't be able to find that. You're going to really miss that.
And, you know, he'd say to you, do you miss anything? And I was like, to be honest, mate.
Yeah.
And he looked at me like, sort of crestfallen, as if like, what's wrong with ours?
In this week's show, we're going to share with you 7 things that people told us there was no way we were going to be able to find those in New Zealand, and discover if they were right.